All right. We are back here at Song of the Day, coming to you from the Rock Cave. I'm your host, Mark Pierce. As usual, it is Thursday. Hope you all had a great St. Patrick's Day. Did you watch the episode yesterday? We went deep. Like I said, we went real deep into that well. Not a lot of comments. I think people probably were just like, Mark, what are you doing? This Wednesday is Wacky Wednesday, not Wanderlust Wednesday. But we are moving on today, and I've been excited all week, maybe even for months at this anniversary, and I think you're going to be pleased. At least I respect you if you're pleased. We are going on the anniversary of this record. We are talking March 19th, 1990. Depeche Mode puts out their 7th album, Violator, and that album is, let's just say, a hit. Remember, Depeche Mode, a UK band, putting out plenty of records, but they were all synth pop records, right? And they were big over in the UK, and not so big in the United States. In the early 80s, we just were meh. Just didn't really care about them. Why? Because we had Duran Duran. That's who we had, and Duran Duran were just way more sexy than Depeche Mode. So we weren't listening to Depeche Mode. We didn't care. They had Just Can't Get Enough, which is a great song, by the way, but we had enough. It just didn't pick up in the United States. There's some great early records there as they go along. In particular, for me, is the song Fly on the Windscreen, but you have to play the album version with the intro as seen on Miami Vice, of course, but that's a great song. They did start picking up some traction. They put out People Are People. You remember that song? That was like 85, I think, right? That's my first introduction to Depeche Mode, and I remember loving that song. I was all over that. That was right in my wheelhouse, so I love People Are People. By the time it got to be, what album? Their next album, Music for the Masses, which was kind of an inside joke because the music on that record was not for the masses, but somehow they managed to sell out the Rose Bowl, even though their sales of records were not demonstrating such things. They did sell out the Rose Bowl in 1988, but they were still looking for that huge breakthrough record. And so what did they do that made them fill the Rose Bowl? And what did they do to their music that was starting to pick things up? I'll give you one hint. This puppy right here. They added guitar. They added a guitar in 87. It wasn't just keyboards. And that, my friends, is when people took notice. And they stuck with the guitars the rest of the way. And that changed everything, especially on Violator. So, that electric guitar, they work on this record. They put it out. Let me tell you, this record was massive. Absolutely massive. I cannot explain to you how big this record was. I mean, the numbers are there, but they're not as big as I feel like it was, but maybe it was just because I was such a big fan. But this record went to number 7 in the United States. I was surprised that it didn't go higher than that. It was 4 singles, international fame, 3 million US copies. I would have guessed more like 5, but it was 3. Now, I didn't go digging very far, but it says on the web that it sold 500,000 copies in Spain. The number said 100,000 in the United Kingdom. I have to look that up again. That cannot be right because it was higher charting in the UK, and they're from the UK. So I'm going to have to do some research and loop back around. But I find it hard to believe that record only sold 100,000 copies in the UK, but that's probably a typo. Why do I think that? Because it sold 25,000 copies in Austria. I mean, even Austria was digging it. 25,000, that's like half the population of Austria bought Depeche Mode's Violator, right? Anyway, the music on this record, we were playing this cassette in the record store non-stop. I mean, I can just picture it. We were playing it all the time, and it was flying off the shelves. If you didn't know anything about Depeche Mode before that, you sure did after this. This is just an awesome record. It is really hard to pick a favorite song. I cannot pick a favorite song on this record. And even the songs that you don't necessarily hear are just some of my favorite ones. Personal Jesus went to number 28. Enjoy the Silence went to number 8. Policy of Truth went to number 15. Their next album went to number 1. And we just listened to that podcast that was calling it the AC/DC effect on Hit Parade. He's coined his own phrase. The AC/DC effect is where the subsequent album goes to number one, but the one before it is the one that sells more and is deemed the better record. And he goes through all examples of that, but AC/DC's Back in Black being the best example of it, because Back in Black would be considered one of the best albums of all time. It did not go to number one. Their follow-up, For Those About to Rock, did, based on the prior album. But anyway, I digress. What are the songs on this record? We're talking World in My Eyes. Boom. Open up this track with this record and you're like, what am I listening to? This is amazing. Sweetest Perfection. So good. It's perfect. Personal Jesus. Heard that one a lot. Some of you might be a little tired of that. I am not. Some of you are fans of Johnny Cash's version. I'm a big Johnny Cash fan. I was all right with it. It was all right. Halo. Awesome song, Halo. That's just a great song. If you don't know Halo by Depeche Mode, listen to it now. Waiting for the Night. That's a cool song. Enjoy the Silence, of course. Policy of Truth, yes. Blue Dress and Clean. This album, beginning to end. When you're on a walk next, throw in the buds, hit play, listen to the whole thing, and synth and guitars and goth and just sweetest perfection in your ears. I promise. Have I said enough good things about this record in Depeche Mode? I don't know, but I want to hear from you guys. I know you're out there. I think I even have a Depeche Mode satchel over there somewhere hanging up from the tour I saw. I saw them in concert several years ago. And with the ticket came a satchel. How about that? Depeche Mode satchel. All right, what is my song of the day, Mark? Let's see. I think it's Policy of Truth. Right? Does that sound good? Yeah, Policy of Truth. That's the one I'm coming up with. I like that one a lot. But there's Sweetest Perfection is so good, and the rest of the album is so good. But we're just going to call it Policy of Truth today. That's your song of the day. Don't forget your feedback. Tell me your favorite Depeche Mode, Violator stories. Love it. Absolutely love it. All right, tomorrow, Octane Friday, rolling into the weekend. Have a good one. And as usual, catch you on the flip side.